me, you have to guide me.
Because I have to check another patient at 9:20 as well, but it's not presbyon.
No, it's only if I'm doing a patient with you, please guide me through, because sometimes I have lots of time.
Okay.
Okay? So, and can you switch the team over, please? How is your name?
Krista.
So,
Kas tu droši prasīt questions, ja?
Jā, bet man tikai stunda tagad.
Nē, nu vienkārši tev ir, lai nav tā, ka mums ir pēc tam jāatcīm atbildes. Tā kā labāk uzreiz, tad tu dzirdēsi pati no tiešiem avotiem. Nu, es domāju, ka tu izkliedēji, vai ne? Mēs tagad izdzirdēju. Es tev bija jautājums vienkārši tajā video, kāpēc man samazināja aditīvus tās acis nevis pārlikt uz otras, kā mēs sākumā runājām. Mēs to izrunājām, pēc tam pārjautājām, un tā kā esmu jauns presbiops, tad viņi samazināja man uz 1,25 un tikai pēc tam lika uz otras acis to aditīvu. Bet tu vari likt kādā secībā gribi, tu vari pārlikt uz otras acis, aiziet vienai acī, pēc tam atgriezties. Nu, visus soļus, ja gribi izstaigāt, vienkārši tas ir laika jautājums. Visas pozīcijas būs, kādu virzienu būs pareizi.
Kuru vajag? Es varu aizņemties.
Šitos paņems šitas un tukšas.
Nē, es gribu palikt apakšā.
Tas, ko es nesaprotu, tas, ka mēs nonākam līdz stūmam, es pārbaudu, man nav jāpārbauda attīvas vispār. Nē, vienkārši nē. Es redzu, cik viņš redz, kā es iegūstu maksimālo aditīvu.
Tu vienkārši liec
1,5 maksimāli. Presbonam vienkārši liec 1,5, tu pat nemeklē maksimālo. 1,5 jau vairāk tāpat netaisies. Mums kāties kāds redz sasums uz vienas acis. Vismaz vakar viņa teica, ka abām acīm nav jāliek. Mēs ar Viktoriju runājam, ja pēc tam periods jautājumi par kaut ko citu, labi, mums tā vai tā ir jāliek abām acīm iet runa, lai mums nav jāatgriež ar to pacientu kā vai tā 10 reizes, ja rodas kaut kāds jautājums. Mēs domājam, ja mums jūs jāraksta brīlis tiem pacientiem, tad mēs viņus varam izrakstīt. Man tajā brīdī jā, bet kurā brīdī pēc lāzera korekcijas tu vari izrakstīt normālas brīlis, un tas tomēr savādāk. Pacients atnāk uz lāzera korekciju, un viņš pasaka, ok, nē, labi, situācija netaisīšu, viņš izrakstīt brīlis, mēs nevaram izrakstīt. Mēs nekad nevaram izrakstīt brīlis, tas nav normāli pēc tās korekcijas izrakstīt brīlis, un nekad tās papildus nav apspriests.
Es gribu pajautāt to sensoru. Tev vajag vai ne?
Pajautāsim vēlreiz. Bet, man Vācijā viņa riktīgi uzstāja, ka tālums nav svarīgs, tālumu nevajag, bet tad, kad mēs aizgājām atceros pie lāzera, skatīties aparātus, un viņi saka, šeit tālumu vadošāts. Es saku, tomēr vai to tālumu? Jā, tikai, lai ievadītu tur sistēmā. Tā kā es tāds
So,
I have a question.
Yes, thanks.
So, in FAR, are we interested in which eye is dominant?
Yes.
Like sensor or motor?
Sensor. You would call it sensor. I call it find the reading light.
Okay, but
Because
the person has no 100% dominant sensor eye.
You always have a sensor eye. If you cannot test it, then quite often the problem is the refraction. Then you are missing, for example, minus 0.25, a very small correction. In this case, I'm doing the refraction again. This is what I explained at the last point yesterday, and I changed with my colleague and asked him to do the refraction again. Or I do the refraction. If we cannot find the real dominant eye for reading, we start to test again.
No, for reading, yes, but in far distance.
Yeah, if you have your reading eyes, then you have the far distance eye too. Good. Good.
Because for binocular balancing, okay, depending on method, we have to know the dominant eye.
Yeah.
And usually we check with motor first to do the balancing, and sensor dominance test can be only
you have rebalancing. If
Yeah.
you don't have rebalancing, then sensor is not going to work. So we have to then we have to test both motor and sensor.
Yeah. The motor testing is only to know which I start. You can do it without testing the motor with the dominance, but then you start always with the right eye, and you can see it at the face if it's okay or not. Okay? So let's start today. It's a practical examination day. I call it something like this. It's more a home run for you than it was yesterday. It's something where you feel very familiar with it. So we can step into the deep discussions about reflection and these things. Something what I really like, because then we have really a discussion, and that's nice. So, what are we doing today? Morning.
Morning.
So, take a seat.
Can you?
Yeah, I drink this one. Yeah, everything's fine. So, question from yesterday. We just already discussed something. Do you have any questions from yesterday? Mechta, richtig? No, everything's fine. Yeah. Okay. Measurements. Refraction devices and even. These are the topics from today. We need this for the patients. Yeah, no, everything's fine. So, what are we doing with the refraction? You need the actual glasses, the objective refraction. It gives you an idea. You can use it because there is no treatment at this moment. If you have an automatic refractometer and it's very old, then you know it. And you know the standard deviations, isn't it? You have a look at this and then you know it's right or wrong. You need the subjective refraction, which we had done yesterday. You have to have a look where you are doing this today and what you use. And sensor psychoplegic refraction, subjective and objective, and dominance test and tolerance test. Okay? For the devices, we in Marburg use tomography, topography, wavefront analysis, biomechanics, biometrics, OCT. Stereo vision, mesopic pupil size, anterior segment, cover, uncover, fundus examination, IOP. I would say you use nearly the same there, isn't it?
Except we have no special device for mesopic pupil size.
Da будешь по экрану.
It's only
Make
How
a-
I measure it? We can have a look afterwards.
But in Pentagon,
что у нас?
Pentagon and also Vasca, but
Vasca, you can, that's the mesopic pupil size, the real, how do you measure it? Yeah?
they are not.
Then you could use the wavefront analyzer. Where is it? Wait. The devices were there. isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
You can measure it with Vasca, but then you have to come on. And you need this. Sure. So, so, refraction, happy mouse again. It's my happy mouse again. We had this happy mouse yesterday, isn't it? And we talked about, very quick about refraction, dominance test and tolerance test, and you have an idea now, what is it? And you know, you need a protocol. Doesn't matter what is a protocol or
It's the
what.
same like from Dan Rammstein, or it's different?
Yeah, I
I
have.
know it, I was sending to you, remember then? Before.
This is a Dan Reinstein protocol because it was written in English. My one is a little bit different,
Uh-huh.
slightly different.
Okay.
We can discuss it if we do it with the patients afterwards. But what is important with the challenge hyperopia is a +6. What we discussed yesterday. Why? And the procedure is blurring with +4 cylinder fine adjustment binocular. I did it the last years with the hyperopic smile when we developed it. I started with this protocol in 2012 and I used it for my engineer study. This is what I really learned initially. With the blurring is you need to switch off the accommodation. That is the point what you really need. Why? If you have a patient with 40, for example, with +3, they can they really accommodate more than one diopter in this age, isn't it? If you have a psychoplegic refraction, you will find +4, sometimes +4.25 or 25. And if you treat only +3, then you will have a problem during the next 2 years. And the patient will stay in front of you and will ask, and now? And then you have an enhancement. It isn't funny, because it's additional work. So with this blurring, you test the most tolerance of hyperopic, what a patient can tolerate. That's the reason why you do it. Because if you would give the patient something like this, it could be very blurred and he could be very unhappy. I did it 2 times during a study because these patients wanted to come into the study because they hadn't to pay anything. And then I started to give them a prescription. In this case, +3.5 for 1 month. And I advise them to never take the glasses off. You wake up, you put the glasses on, and you go to bed and you put it off, even if you take a shower. It's for the relaxing of the accommodation. What you can do with children, with little children, you are doing the same, isn't it? Yeah? Yeah. You give the psychoplegic refraction with little children. You already know it.
There's a few situations which
Okay.
not for everyone full cycloplegic.
But with the little ones you do it.
EXO and then
Yeah, with plus you give them normally is a full prescription. As younger they are, as better it is. If they are older, then you have to adapt it over the time. And after 1 month you can go to +4 and C6. So with +6 you test the most tolerance of plus. And then you can treat it.
Okay, but at which dioptries do you count hypermetropia? We will do this with emetropic as well? Like let's say
As
plus
long
one-
as I find some only plus 0.25, I'm doing +6. Not with emetropic. How often do you have an emetropic patient with 0.0? Really?
Okay, so everyone has not have minus will help for me.
Yes, it would be a better choice, and the reason, the question is why. this is a procedure, you know it, so the other ones know it too now. I'm pretty sure because you told them. And then you have the protocol, so you remove the plus until there is no better image.
One question. Sometimes accommodation effort, we have, with the accommodation we have a little bit minus. In this case, how we can understand it? It's actual plus, it's not minus.
If there is, if I put minus into the frame, I look at the face, and if there is not I remove it. And then I go to the other eye, start and come back to the first one again. You have to, you will get a feeling for it. And if you reduce too much plus, for example 0.25, doesn't care. Better you do this method than nothing. Okay? After nearly, I thought after 1 year it was really good. It took me a long time to become a feeling for hyperopic patients. And before I started with the study trials, I always thought, oh goodness, hyperopic. It's always tricky, isn't it? Does anybody reflect hyperopic patients? Yeah, but with a lot of fun. If you would ask me, I would prefer minus people. Myopia, isn't it? It's easier. The answers are very easy and these things. It was like you yesterday. Oh, it's better. Now it's blurred. I was waiting. Oh, it's better. You know, if we have time, I like to do the reflection again with +6 today. Then we haven't, you can see the difference.
But like +6 and sitting outside for 20 minutes to relax, or +6 fogging and
No, relax 20 minutes.
If you see in autorefractometer +3, you put +9.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I take the glasses, the
If
goggles.
it's -6, what will?
No, you do not have need. There's
It's only
no
for
need.
hyperopic.
Only for hyperopia. Only for hyperopia. Then you take the goggles or the auto refraction, whatever you have. Addition +6. Wait 20 minutes and then do the refraction. That's easy.
Go fast, 6 and they can sit in normal condition
Yes.
and non-mesopic not.
Yeah. The good thing there is you have goggles, you have frames. You can't do it with a phoropter, surely. So with frames it's easy. You can sit, the patient can wait outside, for
We need
example.
additional frames.
yeah, no, it's not around.
Get the hint.
Yeah.
It's a very poor clinic, we have no additional frames.
Yeah. Yeah, but if it's always a frame, it's okay. Okay. And then you do the refraction, and then you can do the cone test. We discuss it. We will have a look at this if I can find some similar test.
Yeah.
But everybody of you, I mean, you study optometry.
Yes.
Do you have a similar test to this test here? I mean, you have a lot of knowledge. How can you test the binocular vision with a red-green test then?
Worse test. Red dot test.
Yeah, but under stereopsis? No.
So now with stereopsis we have different, we have fluorescing tests.
Yeah, but this is one for both.
This is one for both tests, yes.
Yeah, and
we
so-
have a special, like a slide into
Yeah.
the machine
Yeah,
where the, like a polarized glass
yeah.
and test binocular.
So it's possible.
Test.
It's,
yeah.
it's possible. It would be very good because this test shows you the difference from this dioptry. It's very sensitive. It's the most sensitive test if you use a red-green test with polarization. Then you have a very sensitive test. It hasn't been this test, but there has to be one test.
I
Okay?
think I have in my.
I'm pretty sure we will find something there, isn't it? And then you know how to use it.
But not for all the projectors.
No,
Old saistajā un
This is only-
līdzīgākais ir no tā.
this is only important,
Tur daudz ir, kas ir.
Nu, tur ir daudz, bet tur nebija tas
Daži paskatās.
this I would advise for Press Beyond. Because Press Beyond has to be very correct. I told you, you have nearly an error with the room conditions of minus 0.25. If you have an error with a binocular vision from minus, then you have, in this case, an error of 37, isn't it? And if you have a regression, or you have the laser has a total standard deviation of plus minus 0.5, isn't it? 2. So in the worst case would be this standard deviation is minus 0.5, then the patient is by the end of the day something there. And then you have an enhancement and an unhappy patient. So the errors aufsummieren, summing up by the end of the day. So what I try to have is a measurement street without any error. Okay?
If you have too dark conditions,
Yeah.
we will put in frame too much minus. Too much
Yes,
minus.
because of the night myopia.
Night myopia.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It is. And this is too dark.
In which
Saprot, ka viņš
All of them.
tas tests.
Do you see all
Yes.
of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one,
No,
this
we
one,
go-
and one
we
before.
go-
Three.
Status of four.
Yeah, and I haven't seen this upstairs.
In 5 cabinet we
Ah.
have.
Yeah, but we can measure the
Three
room
lights.
Antti,
light.
can you explain how it works with test?
Pardon?
How it works with test? What can we see, what we have to ask the patient?
With this test?
Yes.
Oh, the current test. Write it down, I will show it later.
Okay.
The current test, I have it in another presentation.
Mhm.
It shows you, there you have black circles. The right eye, see one black circle and another one, and the green and the red. And the left one, see also. So you, and if you have a very good balance between both eyes, every circle is black. If you have, there isn't a balance, one circle is more gray. And this depends on the wavelengths. Green has a wavelength of, oh God, 425, isn't it? 25, and red has something like, yeah, thanks. So, and if this would be the retina, the green one is darker than the red one, because the red one is far away. So to bring the red one here, you have to adapt plus 0.25, isn't it?
I know that all can use a
Yes.
reading test.
Yeah,
because
so
it works.
that's easy. But what's so special with these? If you have difference between both, and you have to change more, you adapt plus 0.25, then both circles sometimes are gray. Then you adapt to the left eye, in this case plus 25, or you adapt additionally, and if they do not become black, you have to do the refraction again, because sometimes it depends on the cylinder. Okay?
Okay, but why can't I do other tests?
Pardon?
Why can't I use other tests?
You
Why just
can
not this?
use other tests too, but they aren't so sensitive. They test only for 25, not for 21 or for 2012.
But we work with 0.25 step lenses. Right, no, so primarily the step in refraction is 0.25.
Yeah.
So if, for example, with, just say I do binocular balancing with polarizing tests,
Yeah.
standard test, I use 0.25, but here as well, I will use the same.
Yeah, but you want to find the smallest difference because you have a summation of all the errors.
Yeah, but how can I correct 0.01 with
You
directions?
can't correct it, but you can think about it. You can correct it with a laser. You can correct with a laser. You can correct if there is a switch between both, so you know you are in the middle. It isn't plus, and even it isn't this. Then you know it has to be something like this. You have classes with this in your box.
Few only, yes.
One.
But you can test it. And then you can tell her there is the result isn't plus or minus, it's something like this. She can enter it as a laser. Because we're dealing with refractive patients, we not build a frame or glasses for a patient in an optician shop. That's a different. You have to, if you work here, you have to forget how to build glasses and how to refract glasses. That's a challenge. It's mostly the same, but with Press Beyond, there are slightly but important differences. Okay? Because if you have a patient, with -4, for example, and the patient wants to have minus this, and you never tell it anybody, and you treat -4, then you have 0 by the end. There you have -0. Okay? That would be very good because it's Press Beyond. It helps there. But if you had the same patient with plus, there would be a problem. Because then you have pluses, and this patient would be very unhappy. Okay? I mean, it's only small difference, but important difference. Because on the next step you have the healing, and that means the epithelium healing. And one dioptrine are 15 micrometers. Do you know this? So if you deal or play with epithelium mapping, there's sometimes a thickness of epithelium after the treatment from 7 micrometers. Quite often. And this is -1. Okay? Okay.
So as
A lot of numbers.
one point in parenthesis, we use 2 tests for one test by red-green test monocularly and one test binocular balancing. In these tests, we do both tests at the same time, but binocularly. This is advantage of the old method that we use.
I'm not saying I don't like it, I just know that it can
You
be
want to
confusing.
understand
Plus,
it.
we have only 2 lenses in the clinic, and I know how confusing it can be. For example, when Dr. Gertner is working with a patient, I'm not gonna go steal something for her while she's sitting in a microscope.
Yeah, but,
Design says, of course, we know that we will have to improve it.
yeah, but then we need to find a solution. And if you
We will
scared
steal the
about
lenses.
this, then it's good because you ask the right questions, how to manage it. And this is what we do by the end of the day. You have to write it down, and then we will come together and we will work on the strategies, how to create a line, a measurement line, and what does it need that it works. Sometimes you have to buy some frames additionally. Sometimes the center buy a new lamp. There is some lamp where you can dim the light. I have it at my clinic too. So I can help you and can say, okay, maybe that would be an idea. But firstly, you have to understand why I like to have it. And if you understand it, you can deal with the problem. And that doesn't mean that you have a solution for tomorrow, but maybe you have a solution in 1.5 years. But you have to work at the problems and to think about it. Okay? And now we come to the +6. It was in May. Sabina always knows it, because they asked me from science to give a presentation about hyperopic refraction. And I'm always telling we have to do +6. And everybody is looking at me, how should it work? It's so many times, because I have only 20 minutes. And then I started to analyze how good I am. I was always telling, I've got the psychoplegic refraction. And yes, I got it in a range between 0.3 and 95 eyes. I did this analyzation. I put all my initial refractions and I had to compare to the psychoplegic refraction, and then I had a look how good I am. And I get patients. So quite often the difference with my refraction is only 0.3. And that is good. Better than it was the years before. So if we do it with +6, it's easy. For me, I know it works. Maybe we can analyze your data and we know how good it would be without +6. I would promise it's a bit worse. How is your feeling? I mean, you are doing the refraction all the time. How good you are? Not good or bad. How, if you would have a patient with +3, how high is the possibility that you have the +3 with a psychoplegic refraction afterwards? Small. And how big is the difference? With me, without +6, I would say the difference would be 1 diopter, depending on the age a little bit. How is it? How is your feeling? I mean, you're very experienced optometrist. You are doing refraction. Come on.
I every time start with, if I see outer from +3, I start with +6. No, +3 diopters. I don't have time to put patient to sit with +6 20 minutes, but I start with 3 and I take
Yeah, and how
maybe it's the first time half of dioptry, but steps. After cycloplegic,
how similar are
maybe-
these?
no,
refractions?
0.5, I think will be
0.5.
difference.
You have to have a look.
It's sometimes it's no difference, sometimes it's difference. It's not every time.
But you changed
difference.
it when from the point when you were in Marburg to now, isn't it?
What we?
Did you change the procedure?
Tu izmainīji pēc tam
No,
Yeah.
No, I plus that it's my optic job, and then I put every time when
Yeah.
I time -6, I start with -3.
Yeah.
I don't start with -6.
The problem
It's
quite
every
often is if you work as an optician, you are looking for the most comfortable glasses.
No, of course, but I want to know what is maximum, and then I try to find comfort. But in the university, learn us to start with more plus and find the less minus, and it's.
Yeah.
No, of course, in plastic chirurgy it's a little bit different, but I think we all start with more plus.
Yeah, I learned it too, but for
Yes.
glasses,
But
you
for
know, but for glasses.
is
And
another.
with glasses, there is no need to find the maximum of plus.
We-
Because quite often if you do this, you have to reduce the plus, isn't it, with glasses? When I worked as an optician, I had to reduce it because it wasn't comfortable for the
For
patients.
glasses, I find maximum and then we
Yeah.
decide what we will write. Here we find
Yeah.
maximum and don't decide.
Yeah, but how can you know that it is a maximum?
No, we find maximum, our maximum with lenses and then cycloplegic, yes.
Yeah.
We don't, of course, this +6, it could be.
And you
good,
have to
but-
be careful with psychoplegic refraction. So, with psychoplegic is good, but the rest accommodation is nearly 1 up to 2 dioptry. There is an error of 2. And sometimes if you refract the patients after psychoplegic refraction and you start with one eye and you go to the left one and you go back to the right one, there's more plus. Did you try it?
One time I had,
Yeah,
I put what patient likes, I put
Yeah.
correct left eye, so there's
I-
a difference,
yeah,
then I go back.
And I had a question from my colleague
But-
Carsten this week, and he asked me why, and I explained it's a rest.
But then we just should not use more temperature more times and just wait longer. Then it will count out the error. I would not say completely, but mostly.
Yeah.
Because, well, in my personal experience here, depending on a doctor, we wait different times. Dr. Gertner is the only one who waits super long.
But then,
That's true.
but then write it down, and we have to discuss it this evening, how to manage it. What would be the best standard for this clinic? And then you have to have a look, how can we manage it? I mean, I'm only here to show you what you have to consider. And then it's up to your clinic to do it and to help each other. I mean, it's a team of ophthalmologists and optoms. With Best Beyond, you have a procedure which is very sensitive. And that's one point why only very good clinics can do it. It's not the measurement of the tolerance or dominance test. It's also a measurement of refraction. And the refraction, it's your turn. Quite often an ophthalmologist has no idea about refraction. Theirs is different because I know Jana can do it. So it helps. But it's a discussion. I mean, I sit with Professor Sekunda and discuss all the things. And it's my responsibility to explain him why I want to change something. And it took me 2 years to explain I never use a phoropter. Oh, it's very comfortable, it's very new, it's electronic. Yeah, I do not use it. Why? And then it was my turn to explain what is a measurement error. For refractive surgery, not for glasses. And at one point I thought, oh, I guess these aren't glasses, this is it's laser surgery. It took me 3 years to understand I can put 6.3 at a laser, because I never have seen it before. So there is no need to think in 25, 50, 75, like it is in glasses. You know? And sometimes, if anybody asks me, can you prescribe me a prescription for, write me a prescription for my glasses, I say no. Why? Because I'm not an optician for glasses anymore. It's completely different. And that is important to know. And Carsten has an optician shop. He has to change between both jobs all the time. And it's tricky, you have to learn it. To switch your brain to laser refractive surgery or to switch your brain to the optician shop. Because you are doing two different jobs. Okay? Good. So this is the point for +6. But one point, I'm not sure if +6 and 20 minutes is really the best thing. It's my experience. And now I'm looking for centers like we hopefully can do to analyze the data and to find maybe +2 and 10 minutes is enough. I'm not sure, there is no clinical trial, there is no data, there's nothing published. So it's only my experience. And I know that it works because the hyperopic smile has now the FDA. And the data is very good and the patients are happy. And the highest one was +7.
Thank you, but we have not too much plus patients.
Yes, yeah, thanks God.
It's good
Really?
for everybody.
Thanks God, yeah. Because it took so many times, so much guidance, and so much to consider. That's the reason why I'm happy if I have a 25-year-old patient with -4.
And not for smile,
And yeah, for example, yeah, then you can do a LASIK.
of course.
Okay, and if we have a patient 50 years old or plus, and we immediately understand that he has +3 or +5, and we are not orientating him for laser surgery.
Yeah.
It will be opposite. It's maybe a clear lens exchange or.
Yeah,
It
Or simple lens.
maybe
a simple lens, yes, why not? With plus, with an
With
age
a
of 50
monovision.
is okay.
Yes.
There is no need to do laser surgery, but sometimes you have young people, for a soldier, the one with +7 for the hyperopic smile was a soldier, and he told me I have to go to a war. What should I do with +7? And then we started to treat, and the goal wasn't to be, never to wear any glasses. The goal was to go there and come back. And he still does not wear any glasses.